So while I was out here visiting in California, I got the news that back home in Tennessee, you can now carry a gun in a state park. And I wasn't at all shocked when I heard that, because Tennessee has pretty much just relaxed all of their gun laws, and people just carry and do whatever they want to do. So I really don't think that anyone would have went out of their way to prosecute someone for carrying one in a state park, but now you'll be allowed to, because that's always MAGA's answer to the problem, is just give us more of the problem and pretend that it'll go away. And folks, this one is really, hard for me to talk about honestly, because I know what I want to see happen. And then I know what's really happening, and I realize that, hey, you know what? We may want one thing, but we're getting another, and so we're going to have to learn how to deal with that other, as bad as I hate to say it. But in these scenarios, the J.D. Vances of the world always wants to go to its mental health. They're also the same people who never does a damn thing to help with mental health, but here's J.D. just quoting one of MAGA's favorite talking points.
This happens too much in our country. And if you look, we really do have, I think, a mental health crisis in the United States of America. We take way more psychiatric medication than any other nation on earth. And I think it's time for us to start asking some very hard questions about the root causes of this violence. And I'm going to be part of that, and the First Lady and the President are going to be part of that. But that's going to be an American conversation that we're going to have together. But before we have that conversation,
okay, if it's mental health, then you're going to have to help with mental health. But every time we've ever tried to do that, they've said that was socialism. They've said that was a handout. And so they don't want to fix that problem either. And so we're just constantly beating our heads against the wall while our children die. I've said this before. Every day I drop off my son at school, and I just sit there really hoping that nothing happens that day and he makes it home okay. There's been several times that my kids, and even my grandson on one of his first or second days of like pre-K had to witness right out of the gate. He had to witness a lockdown. And that's the world that we're living in. And we're over here calling for more gun control, saying guns are the problem and easy access to guns, that's the problem. And we want to see change. We want to see real change brought forth. But we're up against a group of people who are just absolutely standing in the way of that. And this is where, that, if I'm being honest with you, that I'm torn on all of this. Yes, I believe easy access to guns is the problem. Yes, I believe there should be stricter background checks. I believe there should be safe storage laws. I believe there should be mental evaluations before you could even be able to buy or have a gun. I believe in all of those things. But at the same time, if we're going to be up against a group of people who are just absolutely going to be against us and stand in the way of any progress, then I feel like the only thing left for us to do, and I don't mean this to come off like a if you can't beat them, join them kind of thing, but we have to protect ourselves. And that's why that I carry when I'm back home. I'm always carrying, because we live in a world where they think we are the enemy from within. We live in a world where they do not give a fuck about our children. They do not care if they die. They think that is the price for freedom. And they walk around here, they can't even go to Wendy's and eat a damn Baconator, that they don't have to throw a bazooka across their back. And so, do I like the fact that I'm sitting there strapped? No, I fucking can't stand it. I hate that I'm having to do it. But I'd be damned. I fought too long and too hard and worked too hard to get where I'm at, to let some scumbag like that come and take it away. So I really feel torn by the whole thing, because yes, in the words of Ronnie Van Zant, who I have tattooed on my arm, by the way, in his song Saturday Night Special, I wish they'd take every handgun and dump them to the bottom of the sea. I wish we didn't even have them on this planet. But we live in a world where these people are just so hardcore and so radicalized and so fucking cruel that they don't care that our children are dying. And so what's left for us to do? And I know a lot of people will feel uncomfortable with me saying that, but these people hate you. They consider you the enemy from within. They're riled up, and 9 times out of 10, when you read the manifestos of these people, who are they out there quoting? It's MAGA. What kind of talking points are they quoting? It's MAGA. I get hate mail and death threats every day. In a perfect world, I would love to walk around and know that I was safe and protected and that there was no guns anywhere. But these people are so hardcore that the only thing I know to do is, just for the time being, is continue to work for change and hope we can bring it about. But I really believe that you should be packing and you should know what you're doing and know how to use it, know how to protect yourself, because that's the crazy ass world that we live in. And that's just me being realistic. It's one of those things where I don't like that I'm having to say it to you. I don't like that I'm having to say it out loud. I wish there was a different way. I wish we could see progress. I wish that we could put our politics aside and come to the table and agree that easy access to guns is a huge problem, and we work to keep guns out of the hands of psychopaths. But if they're going to hand them to psychopaths, we can't sit there with the ball bat. And maybe that's growing up in Tennessee that done that to me. I don't know. Maybe that's growing up with a dad who is a Democrat, who's progressive, but is carrying one. I think he's got three on him at all times, And my Uncle Brad, who I bring across a lot here on the channel, was one of the most bleeding heart liberals that I've ever met. And he owned more guns than most people I know, and he knew how to use them, and he taught me how to use them. And so, we're progressive-minded people who, by the way, I want to make this clear. I'm not against the Second Amendment. I'm not against people protecting themselves. I just think that it's all gotten so out of hand that we should be able to put our differences aside and come to some sort of solution here. But if we're always going to be up against these assholes who's never going to let us have a solution, then we just can't be sitting ducks. And I know that, that's not probably the answer that a lot of people wants to hear, because a lot of people would just love to hear, hey, let's just take all the guns, get them out of the hands of the crazy people. I'm with you 100%. Let's please do that. But we also can't sit back and be sitting ducks while these assholes just run around listening to RFK Jr. and going wild all the time. Like I said, I've been through a lot in my life, lived through a lot of dark times. I'm lucky to be alive today. And so, there's so many times I had so many brushes with death. I could write a whole other book about that. And I've got 2 sick parents and 5 kids to take care of. And I'll be goddamned if some idiot's going to take it away from me without me going down swinging. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's the world we live in. I wish that it was like Ronnie Van Zant said. I wish we could throw them to the bottom of the sea. But as long as we got these people we're going up against, I don't know what else to say. And I hope everyone can understand where it is that I'm coming from. I want to see progress. I want to see change. I want to see our children safe. To me, when my grandson on his second or third day of pre-K had a lockdown, I was just like, God damn it. Is this the world you really want to live in? You can't put your politics aside long enough to fix this problem. Well, if you're not willing to do that, and you're just going to let any buffoon run loose with whatever they want to run loose with, just know that I will be too.